Welcome to the Accounts Payable Automation demonstration. The purpose of this demonstration is to show you how our Accounts Payable Automation solution can automate the reconciliation and the routing of invoices for approval. There's two types of invoices that I'm going to demonstrate to you today. One of them is an expense type invoice, and the other one is a purchase order type invoice. To start off, if I am going to reconcile an expense type invoice, the first thing that I want to do is I want to pull the invoice up and make sure that the company was correctly identified. The invoice date was correctly identified, which this one I'm getting a warning because it's over 90 days, and that the due date was appropriately calculated based upon the terms associated with this particular company, which they were. So the next thing that I'm going to do is if I look at the invoice here, you can see that it's already been GL coded, and it was automatically GL coded based upon historical information. So what that means is that the solution has seen this invoice once before, and so it is making GL coding suggestions for which I can easily override if I want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate the workflow process by routing it to the IT manager or director, excuse me, in this case, so that he or her can review the invoice and of course approve it. From there, it's going to go on to another step in the workflow, which is back to the accounting manager so that the accounting manager can ultimately put eyes on it, make sure that it is good before it is pushed over to the accounting system or your ERP system. I'm going to go ahead and put a note in here for the IT director that says, please approve, even though that might be stating the obvious, and then I can go back to the item. So I'm going to hit OK. From here, I'm going to log out as the accounting person and log in as the IT director. And you'll see that when I log in as an IT director, there's a queue that says assigned to me, and that invoice is presented in that queue. I double click on it. I can see the comment that was just directed to me. Please approve. I can go ahead and approve it, add the comment. And then, of course, if I want to attach any supporting information, I can do so here by clicking on Add and browsing for those supporting documents. It might be, in this case, a proposal or something else that I got. And then I can go back here and I can just click OK to push it along on the workflow. Now I'm going to log out. I'm going to log in as the accounting manager. And the item is here in my queue. And you can see that this item is sitting right here. I've got a couple of them, but this one was the one that I just uploaded. And I can look at it as the accounting manager, validate that everything was coded correctly, and I can see that it was indeed approved. There are no attachments, but I can also at any point in time look at the history and see exactly who it went to in the workflow and who approved it. Click back over here, and now that I hit OK, it's finished its workflow process, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. It goes first to the IT director and then back to accounting. I'm going to click OK, and it is now good to be released to the back-end system, which would be your accounts payable, or I'm sorry, your accounting or your ERP system in this case. I'm going to log back in as accounting. And one other thing that I did want to note is not only can we push it to your accounting system or ERP system, but we can also push the invoice and any attachments or documents that were uploaded along the way to our centralized content management system, so everything stays together in a nice, neat package in your enterprise content management system. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you an invoice that is a purchase order invoice. In this particular case, I'm looking at this Tyson Food invoice, and you can see along the way that everything here matched exactly to Tyson Food. The invoice date is correct. the, of course, invoice due date is calculated again based on terms. And at any point in time, you can see that the line item details that were extracted are getting reconciled against the purchase order data that's listed over here. So the purchase order was extracted from the actual invoice, and then it was automatically matched to your purchase order data that's coming from your ERP system. Now, in this particular case, everything matched just well. Everything matched perfectly. But let's just say, for the sake of this particular instance, let's say that in this case, the actual dollar amount was different. So let's say that it extracted $20 from the actual invoice. What would happen in that particular case is you would get a notification that the invoice price is greater than the purchase order price. You would also get a notification if the extended amount, so if the quantity times the unit price did not match properly, you would be notified here as well. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and look at the purchase order. We're going to see that in this particular case, the purchase order, and I'm going to look to open up a little bit more data so that we can see more information about the actual purchase order here. You can see that the purchase order does indeed have a quantity of 10, all right, and it has a delivered quantity of 10, and the total extended amount is $197, so that amount is correct. And if we were to look at the unit price associated with this particular item, which we can see as well coming over from the purchase order, we can see that the unit price is indeed $17.71 on the purchase order. So consequently, we would want to change this back to $17.71. And then everything matches the purchase order and the receiver exactly. So again, here you have an indication of what quantity was ordered. You have an indication of the quantity delivered, which comes from the receiver. And we also give you the indication of what amount was previously invoiced, so that if indeed the this invoice had been processed once before and it had a different invoice number, because we do check for duplicate invoices, it would still stop and say that, hey, you've already been invoiced for the items on this purchase order, so you need to check this very closely. So in this particular case, if there was an issue here, I could route it to the buyer for approval, or the category manager in this case. Or since everything looks perfect on it, I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and it will post to the back end ERP solution. That concludes the demonstration. I hope you have a good day.